So I get this question constantly. What do you wish you'd known before you started your Barndominium? Well, after building 3 of these things and consulting on probably 24 more, I've got some real talk for you. Not the Pinterest fantasy version, the actual boots-on-the-ground reality. I'm going to save you from making the same mistakes I made on my first build. Some of these cost me thousands. Some just cost me sleep. But all of them? Yeah, you need to hear about them before you break ground. Let's get into it. Number 1, the foundation. This one blindsided me hard. Your foundation is going to cost way more than you think. I budgeted $12,000. Know what I actually spent? $23,000. And that's before I added the radiant floor heating, which, by the way, do it if you can afford it. Here's what nobody tells you. You're not building a regular house foundation. You've got point loads from those steel columns that are massive compared to traditional wood framing. That means deeper footings, more rebar, engineered stem walls in a lot of cases. I'm talking 18-inch footings instead of 12. On my 2,400 square foot build, we poured almost twice the concrete I'd originally spec'd. And if your soil's not perfect, and it probably isn't, add another $5 to $10 grand for proper site prep and compaction. My site had expansive clay, had to over-excavate 2 feet and bring in select fill. That wasn't in any YouTube video I watched. Get a real geotechnical report, not your buddy who knows dirt, an actual engineer. It's a $1,500 that'll save you $15,000 in foundation repairs later. Number 2, your insulation strategy makes or breaks your utility bills. And here's where I messed up initially. I went with the standard approach, 6-inch walls, R19 fiberglass bats. My first winter, my electric bill was $380 in January for 2,400 square feet. That's unacceptable. My second build, I did it right. 3-inch closed-cell spray foam on the underside of the metal roof deck. That's R21 right there, and it stops all the condensation issues. Then R30 in the walls with a proper vapor barrier. My heating bill for a bigger building? Cut in half. The metal roof and walls create a thermal nightmare if you don't address it properly. Metal conducts heat like crazy. On a summer day, your roof deck can hit 160 degrees. Without proper insulation, you're basically living in an oven with a $400 a month electric bill. If you don't insulate correctly, you'll have water dripping from your ceiling in the winter. I've seen it in half a dozen Barndos where guys tried to save money on insulation. You're not saving money, you're creating a recurring nightmare. Spend the extra $5 grand on spray foam. Your future self will thank you every month when that utility bill comes.
Third, column spacing. This is critical. Your column spacing determines your entire layout, and you need to get this right on day 1 because you can't change it later. Standard kit companies give you options, usually 20, 24, or 30-foot spacing. I went with 24-foot on my first build because it was the middle option and seemed reasonable. Big mistake for how I wanted to lay out my interior walls. Here's the reality. Your interior walls work best when they can bear on those steel columns or at least on beams between them. Every time you want a load-bearing wall that doesn't line up with your structure, you're adding cost and complexity. I had to add supplemental beams in 3 places because my kitchen wall didn't align with my column grid. That was another $3,800 I didn't budget for. If you're doing a workshop area, you want wider spacing. 30 feet gives you room to maneuver equipment. Living areas? 24 feet works great for most residential layouts. But sit down with your floor plan and your structural engineer before you order that kit. Move those columns on paper first, because moving them in steel costs real money. Number 4, HVAC design. HVAC in a Barndo is completely different than a stick-built house, and most HVAC contractors have no idea what they're doing with these buildings. I had 3 different contractors tell me I needed a 4-ton unit for my 2,400 square feet. That's standard residential calculation, right? 1 ton per 600 square feet.
Wrong. Dead wrong for a metal building. A properly insulated barndominium actually needs less HVAC capacity than a wood frame house the same size because we don't have all the air infiltration through stick frame construction. But, and this is huge, you need much better air distribution because of the open floor plans. I ended up with a 3-ton variable speed heat pump with a zoned system. Cost more up front, but my energy efficiency is fantastic. The key is multiple smaller zones rather than trying to heat and cool the whole thing as one giant space. And here's something nobody talks about: ductwork placement. In a traditional house, you're running ducts through an attic or crawl space. In a barndo with a finished ceiling, you're either exposing them, hiding them in soffits, or running them under the slab. I did under slab on my second build, 100% the way to go if you're pouring anyway. Cleaner look, better performance, no noise. Number 5, electrical rough-in. This has to happen at exactly the right time in your build sequence, and if you miss that window, you're either leaving conduit exposed or you're cutting into finished walls. With stick frame construction, electricians can come in basically whenever and drill through studs. With a barndo, once those metal panels go up, you're done. Everything has to be in place: conduit, junction boxes, wire poles, before you close up those walls. I didn't coordinate this properly on my first build, ended up with surface-mounted conduit in my shop area that looks terrible. Could have avoided it with better planning. Here's the sequence that works. Slab goes in with all your underslab conduit already placed. Then your building goes up. Before you insulate, your electrician needs to rough in everything through the metal framing, and I mean everything: every outlet, every switch, every light fixture. Once that spray foam goes in, you're not adding anything without some serious surgery. Also, overestimate your outlet needs by about 30%. I've never heard anyone say, "I wish I had fewer outlets." In a shop area, I'm putting outlets every 6 feet on every wall. Sounds excessive until you actually use the space.
Number 6, interior finish options. Your interior finish options are more limited than a traditional build, but there are workarounds if you know what you're doing. You can't just nail drywall to steel studs like you do to wood. Well, you can, but it's going to crack at every seam because metal moves with temperature changes. You need proper framing techniques: hat channel, resilient channel, or a full wood framing system inside your steel shell. I went the wood frame route on my living areas, built a 2x4 wall inside the steel, insulated that cavity too, then standard drywall. Gives you a thermal break, stops sound transmission, and you can hang stuff on the walls normally. In the shop area, I just left the metal exposed with painted panels. Saved money and actually looks pretty industrial cool. For ceilings, if you want a finished look, you're either doing a drop ceiling, installing purlins for drywall, or going with metal panels or wood planking. I did painted white metal ceiling in the shop, tongue and groove pine in the living area. The wood adds warmth and actually helps with acoustics because these buildings can echo like crazy otherwise. Flooring's actually easier. Concrete stain and seal works great, and it's indestructible. I did polished concrete in 60% of my building and luxury vinyl plank in the bedrooms. Total cost was about 40% less than hardwood would have been. Number 7, condensation management planning. Condensation management isn't optional, it's mandatory, and it's not just about insulation. Even with perfect insulation, you're going to generate moisture inside this building. Cooking, showers, breathing, it all creates humidity. In a traditional house, that moisture escapes through the building envelope naturally. In a well-sealed barndo, not so much. It hits your cold metal skin and turns to water. I installed an ERV, energy recovery ventilator, on my second build. It's basically a smart fresh air system that exchanges stale indoor air for fresh outdoor air while recovering the heat energy. Costs about $2,000 installed. Completely solved my condensation issues. Also critical, vapor barrier placement. This is where a lot of DIY builds go wrong. In most climates, you want your vapor barrier on the warm side of your insulation in winter. But with metal buildings, you've got to think about summer too, when the metal's hot and the AC makes the inside cold. It gets complicated. This is not a place to wing it. Follow the spray foam manufacturer's specs exactly, or hire someone who knows what they're doing. I've seen buildings with water literally running down the inside of the walls because someone watched a YouTube video and thought they knew better than building science. Don't be that guy. Number 8, Permit. Permitting is going to be harder than you expect, especially if your local building department hasn't dealt with many barndos. First barndo I built, the plan reviewer kept trying to apply residential wood frame codes to my steel structure. We went back and forth for 6 weeks because he didn't understand metal building engineering. Finally, had to get my engineer on a call with him to explain how loads transfer through steel versus wood. Some jurisdictions straight up don't allow agricultural buildings as primary residences. Others have minimum requirements for exterior finishes. They want it to look like a house, not a barn. I've had clients who had to add stone or brick facades just to get past planning commission because the neighbors complained about aesthetics. My advice, before you buy land, before you order a kit, go talk to your building department. Bring example plans, ask specifically about Barndominium or metal building residential structures. Get it in writing what they'll accept. This will save you months of headaches. And budget for engineering. You're going to need stamped plans from a licensed engineer in your state. That's $3,000 to $8,000 depending on complexity. Not optional.
Number 9. Kit quality. Not all Barndominium kits are created equal, and the cheapest option will cost you more in the long run. I've seen kits that show up with pre-punched holes that don't line up, steel that's the wrong gauge, missing fasteners, panels that are warped, and good luck getting the company to make it right after they've got your money. The reputable companies, and there are several good ones, use 26 or 24 gauge steel minimum. They provide full engineering, detailed erection drawings, all the trim pieces, proper fasteners. They stand behind their product. The budget companies? 29 gauge steel that dents if you look at it wrong. No engineering, generic drawings that don't match what actually shows up. You save $8,000 on the kit and spend $15,000 fixing their mistakes. Do your homework. Talk to people who've actually built with that company. See their buildings in person if you can. Check references. This is a $200,000 plus decision. Don't make it based on whoever's got the slickest website. And number 10. It's going to take longer than you think. Just accept that now. Everyone wants to believe they'll be in their barndo in 4 months. I've never seen it happen on a DIY build, not once. Even with a general contractor, you're looking at 6 to 9 months minimum from breaking ground to certificate of occupancy. Weather delays, permit delays, material delays, subcontractor scheduling, it all adds up. My first build took 11 months, and I thought I was being realistic with my timeline. The emotional toll of living through construction is real too. Budget not just money, but patience. Have a solid backup living arrangement and don't count on any specific move-in date. Look, I love my Barndominium. It's an amazing way to build, but going in with realistic expectations makes all the difference between a dream build and a nightmare. Do your homework, hire the right people, don't cut corners on the important stuff, and you'll end up with something incredible. Questions? Drop them in the comments, and if this helped, subscribe. I've got a lot more real-world barndo content coming. See you in the next one.